Hi scholars, today we are going to be reading the story Bringing Down the Moon, and it's going to tie in with our weekly concept and our essentials question about what do we see in the night sky. So today scholars, when we read our story, I'm going to have you practice making and confirming predictions. So we're going to practice making a prediction today based on story details and evidence that we find in our story to guess about what happens next. So let's go ahead and get started and read Bringing Down the Moon. "Haw diggity!" exclaimed Mole as he burrowed out of the ground one night. "Whatever's that?" The moon was hanging in the sky above him like a bright silver coin. Mole thought it was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. So thumbs up, scholars, if you agree that the moon is a beautiful sight to see in the night sky. I agree. I love when I can see a full moon. "Whatever it is, I must have it," Mole said to himself. "I know, I'll jump up and pull it down." Thump, thump, thumpity bump. Mole was so busy jumping he didn't think about the noise he was making, and he woke up Rabbit in her burrow. So scholars, let's stop here and let's make a prediction. And we're going to use that academic language today. I predict, and my reason is. Let's think about the way Rabbit might be feeling right now with Mole, okay? So I'm going to say that I predict Rabbit is not happy with Mole right now because my reason is Mole woke up Rabbit when she was sleeping, and so she's upset about that. So let's confirm our prediction and read on. "Mole," said Rabbit, "what on earth are you doing?" "Hello, Rabbit," said Mole. "I'm trying to pull that shiny thing." "You mean the moon?" asked Rabbit. "So that's what it's called," said Mole. "You'll never do that," said Rabbit. "It's not as close as it looks." So when I look at the picture details in the story, it looks like Mole is, not Mole, but Rabbit is a little frustrated with Mole right now because one, he's making all this noise, and two, he woke her up from her sleep. Okay, but Mole would not give up. "I know," he thought. "I'll get a stick and I'll poke it down." He found a long stick and poked it up at the moon. Swish, swish, swishity, swish. Mole was so busy poking that he tripped over Hedgehog in his bed of leaves. "Mole," grunted Hedgehog, "what are you up to?" "Hello, Hedgehog," said Mole. "I'm trying to poke down the moon." "You'll never do that," said Hedgehog. "It's not as close as it looks." But Mole would not give up. "I know," he thought. "I'll throw something at it and knock it down." He found some acorns and threw them at the moon. Plink, plink, plinkety, plink. "Ouch!" said Squirrel. "Mole, have you gone nuts?" "Hello, Squirrel," said Mole. "I'm trying to knock down the moon." "You'll never do that," said Squirrel. "It's not as easy as it looks." So let's stop here, scholars, and make a prediction. What do you think Mole is going to do next to try to bring down the moon? Now let's use some story details here. And I'm going to predict that Mole is going to climb the tree to bring down the moon. And my reason is he's already used acorns and he's already used a stick and he's already tried to jump up, and the tree is close by and it's high in the sky. So let's confirm our prediction. But Mole wanted the moon so badly he would not give up. "I know," he thought. "I'll climb a tree and carry it down." So ding, ding, ding. Our prediction was right, scholars. He is going to climb the tree. Mole had never climbed a tree before. It was hard work and he was scared to be so far from the ground. But he kept on going until he saw the moon resting in the leaves above him. Mole stretched out his paws, but just when he thought he had the moon, he slipped. "Oh, eek, ouch, oh!" Mole tumbled down and landed splash in the middle of a puddle. "Hot diggity drat," thought Mole. "I almost had it that time." Then he noticed something floating in the puddle beside him. It was pale and wrinkled, but Mole recognized it at once. "The moon," whispered Mole. "It must have fallen down with me." He reached out to pick up the moon, but as soon as he touched it, it broke into pieces and vanished. So scholars, let's make a prediction right now and let's figure out, why did the moon break into 1,000 pieces? Well, I predict that Mole wasn't able to pick up the moon because my reason is the moon's not really in the water. It's just a reflection. Okay, now let's confirm, scholars, and read on. Mole sat in the puddle and cried. Rabbit, Hedgehog, and Squirrel came running up. Are you all right, Mole? Asked Rabbit. I'm all right, sobbed Mole, but the moon isn't. I pulled it down and then it broke and it was so beautiful and now I'll never see it again. Oh, Mole, said Rabbit, you couldn't have pulled down the moon and you couldn't have broken it, said Hedgehog, and you certainly see it again, said Squirrel. Look! High up in the sky above them, the moon was coming out from behind a cloud. Oh, whispered Mole, it's just as beautiful as ever. Mole, Rabbit, and Hedgehog and Squirrel stood and stared up at the moon together. It is beautiful, said Rabbit. Very beautiful, said Hedgehog. Very beautiful indeed, said Squirrel. Yes, said Mole, but it's not as close as it looks. And that's the end. So scholars, at the end of this story, we want to think about Mole and some of the things that he was doing to bring down the moon from the sky. So this story is a fantasy story. So remember, fantasy means something that cannot happen in real life. So scholars, I'm going to have you go hop onto Seesaw right after you're done watching this video, and I'm going to have you tell me in the notes, what parts of the story were fantasy and what parts of the story were realism. So what parts of the story could not happen in real life, that's fantasy, and what parts of the story were realism, things that could happen in real life, okay? So I can't wait to read your responses, and make sure to click check on Seesaw to post it to your journal. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.